Hello everyone, it's Assad and welcome back to the channel. Today what I'm going to be doing is share with you some of the books that I have, that I love, and that I think you will benefit from, centering on the topic of self-development and self-growth. Now, each of these books that I show you have benefited me and have left an impact on me in one way or another. So I really hope that you will also find them useful. And at the end of the video, if you have other books or other suggestions, please write it in the comments, and I will be sure to look them up for myself. So let's begin. What I will do is show you each book and then tell you about some of the ideas that you may come across in each book, and then maybe even read a line or two from some of the books just so you are able to hear the language of the book. So let's begin. The first book is called Rising Soul, A Guide to Personal Development, and this is written by Dr. Muhammad Mansour. And these are one of the first books that I came across in this topic. And I love this book because it really breaks it in a kind of step-by-step process. So beginning with very basic things. So the first part is focusing on abandoning negative habits. So for example, backbiting, slander and distasteful language, useless talk, lying and breaking promises. These are just some of the topics. And then it goes into part 2, instilling good manners. So for example, repentance, pure intentions, patience, hope and fear. And again, just some of the topics. It goes to part 3, implementing worship. So prayer, fasting, hajj, seeking knowledge. So I think you will not go wrong in this book. The language is easy to follow, and it gives you really practical things to implement in your life in terms of becoming a better person. And what I really enjoyed about this book is the reasoning behind everything that the author suggests. So it takes in quotes from the Quran, from the Sunnah, and other evidence to prove, each of the point that are mentioned here. So again, I highly recommend this. The second book is called Don't Be Sad, and I believe this was translated from the Arabic version, and the author name is Ada ibn Abdullah al-Karmi, but I'm sure you can find it if you just search by the title. And I read this book during a time when I was going through a difficult time in my life, and it brought me quite a bit of peace. The language, the way the author explains the different ideas is just really beautiful. And I'll just read a part from the book. So this is under the topic of today is all that you have. When you wake up in the morning, do not expect to see the evening. Live as though today is all that you have. Yesterday has passed with its good and evil, while tomorrow has not yet arrived. Your lifespan is but one day, as if you were born in it and you will die at the end of it. With this attitude, you will not be caught between an obsession over the past with all its anxieties and hopes of the future, with all its uncertainty. Live for today. During this day, you should pray with a wakeful heart, recite the Quran with understanding, and remember Allah with sincerity. In this day, you should be balanced in your affairs, satisfied with your portion, concerned with your appearance and health. So just again, a portion of the book, but it really, especially if you're going through a difficult time and you're looking for a good companion, I recommend that book. The next one, which I'm not yet done reading currently, is called Reclaim Your Heart. And this is by Yasmin Mugahid. And again, a wonderful book. This one explores similar theme, but it begins with the topic of why do people have to leave each other? And then from there on, so the first part of this book is focused on attachments. Why do people have to leave each other? People leave, but do they return? Emptying the vessel for the love of the gift. And then these were just some of the topics under the topic of attachment. The second part goes into love. Is this the love that I'm feeling? Love is in the air. The search for love. Fall in love with the real thing. And then the third part goes into hardships. The only shelter in the storm. Seeking your home in Jannah. On seeking divine help. The dream of life. Closed doors and the illusions that blind us. From there on, it goes with relationship with the Creator. Again, different topics. Women's status, ummah, poetry, and it ends with that. Just show you, the layout of the book, but these are basically how the chapters begin. And similar to the other books that I mentioned, it pulls in a lot of quotes and from the Quran, from Hadith, to back up the point that the author is making. So a very useful and very good read. And it's been bestseller, as you can see here. So just validates all that I'm saying. The fourth book that I found on Amazon is, this one is called In the Early Hours, Reflections in Spiritual and Self-Development. And this is by Khurram Murad. This is a very special book because it focuses on the early hours. So, for example, beginning your day early. For those of us who wake up early and, are looking to optimize their time, I would really recommend that you look into this book. The author, I read this a while ago, but the author makes very easy and clear points, uses a lot of bullet points to make some of the points. So, for example, some of the things that I underlined. The Prophet said, the deed most loved by Allah is prayer performed on time. Another one, if you do not understand Arabic, learn the meaning of what you recite in your prayer. Let me just read a little bit part from this book. You should therefore start each day by taking an account of yourself, seeking forgiveness for the wrong you have done, and make the intention not to repeat these mistakes. In this way, you shall become free from these sins. Every day you may commit a sin, but if every day you come sincerely to Allah, then every day He will forgive you. Such is His love and blessing for us. So it goes on. But I really enjoyed reading this book. And I think, especially for those of you, like I mentioned, who wake up early, I think you will find it quite beneficial. The next book is called The Wisdom of the Prophet. And this is basically the Sunnah translated into English. And what I love about this book is each of the Sunnah has a title. So, for example, prophetic custom, dreams and lies, good dreams and bad, an invocation, a soul, on the way to the grave, and then it lists the hadith under each of the topics. It's very easy to read, very easy to understand. I think it, especially for those of us who cannot read Arabic and are looking to get closer and understand the hadith, this really comes in handy. And the reason I included it in this series, because there are quite a few hadiths that focus on self-growth, self-development. So I think you cannot go wrong with this book. And the author name I forgot to mention is translated by Thomas Cleary. So that is the book. And the last book that I have is called Healing in Shifa from Quran and Sunnah. And this is a really good book, and especially for those of you who are looking into Islamic treatment and healing. Some of the topics from the book that I will read on the back is Islamic spiritual healing versus medical science, Quranic ruqya for spiritual treatment, handling calamities and challenges in life, the reality of jinns and shaitan, the reality of sihr or black magic, the reality of evil eye. So I think for some of you who have interest around these topics, this is a very popular and a very good book. But I have to be honest, I did not read all of this. But I think these topics can give you an idea of if you're interested in this book, if you're interested. Okay, viewers, so again, these are the books, and if you have any comments or you have read any of them, or if there are others that you recommend, please mention them in the comment, and I will look into them and maybe make another video after I include those books and read them for our viewers. So that is all for now. Thank you for listening, and I will see you again.